Mr. Sharma, if you can please bear with me. I have just been joined by the Honorable Minister for Railways, Mr. Piyush Goyal also, and I think it's only fair that I get him to answer some of the questions that you have raised. Mr. Goyal, thank you very much for being with us. With both your kind permission, can I get a dialogue going between the two of you? And Piyush Goyal, Anand Sharma, an extremely senior member of the Congress party and the Deputy Leader of Opposition in the Rajya Sabha, says you've announced these big schemes. Where are the allocations? Whether it is Manrega or whether it's National Health Mission, midday meal scheme, etc., it will all get same or lower allocation. The Congress party believes you have failed the equity test.
Well, I think the Congress party cannot digest the fact that Prime Minister Modi, the most popular leader of the country, is focused on welfare of the poor, is focused on the farmers of this country, is focused to give a better quality of life to all sections of society. I just overheard his calculation of 2.5 lakh crore rupee premium for the healthcare scheme. I think he's completely off the mark. I don't know where he got that fanciful figure. Probably in the earlier regime, because they used to have a lot of corruption in their procurement, they could have spent 2.5 lakh crores. We will do it prudently. We will do it based on the very good healthcare facilities that we are developing across the nation, and we have the ability in India to provide good quality.
Strong objection to this.
All the poor of this country, without having to spend 2.5 lakh crores every year.
All right, Mr. Anand Sharma, Piyush Goyal's defense is they will not have to spend 2.5 lakh crores.
Allow me to say one thing very clearly. Popularity of the Prime Minister was shaken in Gujarat, and now it has been actually trashed in Rajasthan today. So this is the arrogance of this government. It remains in denial that people are suffering. There is rural distress. There is rising unemployment.
I really want this to be a meaningful discussion.
If they are saying that it is a fancy number, Mr. Piyush Goyal, my friend, understands finance. From where is the provision made for the premium? How will you provide insurance cover to 10 crore families without making any provision for the premium for the insurance cover? Who is going to pay that? That's my question.
So let's keep this discussion to the budget. Let's not get into the politics of this. And Mr. Goyal, can you answer that question? How are you going to provide for this very ambitious Modi Care scheme that we are talking about?
Who started politics? Who started politics?
1 second, sir. Let him just answer that question, Mr.
Today,
Sharma.
the government of India...
You didn't ask him when he was berating us?
Supriya, no. Today the government of India and the states...
Go ahead, Mr. Goyal.
I couldn't understand what he said, sorry.
Goyal, answer the question.
Well, today the government of India and the states already have very large infrastructure in the healthcare sector, which needs to be leveraged more efficiently. After all, we have doctors, we have healthcare across the country, but we have not been able to leverage that to the extent of providing that facility to the poor of the country. Sadly, what Mr. Anand Sharma is assuming is that 10 crore families, everybody is going to need 5 lakh rupees healthcare every year. It doesn't work that way. How it works is that whenever you are in distress or you need help or healthcare, you should have that facility available very close to where you live or work, and that facility should be of a good quality. Today, unfortunately, that has not been leveraged in a holistic fashion. I can tell you I have facilities in which railways gives healthcare to millions of people across the country. Now, many of these facilities have surplus capacities. I'll be very comfortably able to give healthcare to a lot of people using my facilities. Similarly, different government and state government and PSU facilities across the country can all be collectively leveraged. So there are many ways in which this can be done efficiently. It's not a question of the premium calculation or how you're going to calculate that premium. It's not as if everybody needs that healthcare at the same time. I think it's a great comforting factor that people will not have to go to a money lender, borrow, and then live in distress all their life, debt distress because of healthcare
Right.
requirements.
Mr. Goyal and Mr. Sharma, I want to shift focus and talk to you about the rural focus of the budget. Just 1 second, Mr. Sharma. Mr. Goyal, you have promised a 1.5 times increase in MSP. You haven't been able to fulfill your election promise. How are you going to do that? Why should one be convinced that this will be done? Obviously, this is an election budget. Obviously, you'll be going into elections, and so the focus is on rural areas. I have a very simple question.
I'm sorry, Supriya, Supriya, it's not a simple question. It's you've not understood the budget then probably. We have not said 1.5 times increase in MSP.
On the cost.
We have said you will get a 50% increase over the cost of production while determining the MSP. Now we have, over the last 4 years, we've been increasing MSP every year while keeping costs low because inflation has come down to abysmally low levels. So we have kept the cost low and yet we've been able to increase the MSP. So in many products, the MSP is already 30%, 40%, 45% over the cost of production. We have assured that this will now be increased to 1.5 times the cost of production, and we stand committed to it, and we have ensured that that will be done within this year itself.
No quarrels with that argument. Mr. Sharma, will you have an issue with that? It's a very responsible way of increasing MSP. What can anybody's issue with that be?
They have not done anything for the first 4 years. Their procurement, listen, allow me, first of all, ask Piyush Goyal, what has been the procurement by the government and the government agencies? Less than 25% of what the farmers produce. Secondly, where is the budgetary allocation to ensure that adequate provision is there even for 50% increase if they say, not 1.5 times? How much are you going to increase? Where is the provision? Everything is hanging in thin air. You made these big announcements. And what has been the increase in MSP over the last 4 years? Please, let's be honest about it. It's a matter of fact and record. If there was adequate MSP increase by this government and by the Prime Minister, as Mr. Goyal is claiming, then why there is rural distress? Please do your homework.
So let him
it's from 3% to 20%. That's all what you have done in 4 years.
All right. So let him come in and answer that question for you. You've raised a question. Let the minister answer that. Mr. Goyal, please go ahead.
Supriya, it's very elementary. It's very elementary. A business channel like yours will appreciate it. In the Congress regime, the inflation was in double digits. So even if they would increase the MSP, most of it was eaten away by inflation. So effective increase net of inflation was very nominal, in many cases not even there. While we have been able to bring down inflation to 3 and 4%, at times it had gone down to 2%. Because of that reduction in inflation, the cost of production has not increased like in the Congress times. So they are again and again harping on increasing MSP by a larger percentage. It was because of their incompetence to control inflation that they needed to increase MSP by those levels. Whereas we have focused on structural improvement to keep the inflation low. That was totally missing during the Congress time.
I have a quick last question to both of you, and that has to do with jobs.
It's a fact of life. I'm just correcting the perception.
Yes,
you just mentioned you increased the MSP by 20%, but that was because there was inflation which was in double digits.
Okay. May I please take the attention away from MSP and talk about jobs?
No,
and I will
that's
come
not
to,
true.
I will,
Are you trying to give an impression that the farmers of the country are happy? Why are they agitating in every state?
all right,
Why are they committing suicides?
let's just
You are in denial.
okay, let's just
And you're misleading the audience.
Let's just leave the farmers aside for a minute, gentlemen. Let's just quickly talk about jobs because I know you're both short on time. I have to let you go. Mr. Goyal, does this budget do enough for job creation? Jobs is the big Achilles heel. It has got stuck into the statistical warfare of sorts right now. Why should one be convinced that there will be jobs created out of this budget? Mr. Sharma, I'll come to you. Let Piyush Goyal have a say at that. Mr. Goyal.
Well, I think the concept of jobs of the erstwhile good old days is no more relevant in the world today. Earlier, a job in the government sector, a job in a large plant was what people were aspiring and looking for. In the context of today, that has completely changed. For example, when I spend 1.5 lakh crores in the railways, capex, which by the way is 3 times what it was in 2013-14, about 50,000 crores then is now 3 times 1.5 lakh crore. 1/3 of that straight away goes into salary, wages, labor, and creates that much working opportunities. Now that may not get captured as a job, because there'll be contract workers, there'll be people doing different types of entrepreneurial work, people working in different ancillaries. Now you have your ET now. It was not existent 5 years, 10 years ago. You have cameramen, you have anchors, you have guest coordinators, you have the backroom guys, you have the OB vans. This whole infrastructure may not categorize as a job in the traditional sense, but it's the new age economy. When we talk of the IT sector, a lot of it is self-employment, a lot of it is entrepreneurial, a lot of startup companies coming up, tech companies coming up. The world has had a paradigm shift in the nature of work, nature of employment, nature of jobs, and India is engaging with that new world. The youth of India wants to work in the modern age with modern technology in the new way of working.
All right, Mr. Anand Sharma, Piyush Goyal defends that the nature of jobs have changed, and so the kind of jobs that could have been created 10 years back will no longer be created right now. We are a new age economy with new kinds of jobs. I will ask you to answer your question there, but I will also ask you a final word, sir. 1 second, sir. I will also ask you a final word. You have attacked this government for long being a suit boot ki sarkar. The reality today is that they have miffed the Indian corporates. They haven't cut corporate tax rates for the corporates. How are you going to then continue with that narrative? Go ahead, sir.
Will you ask me? No, I'm not. They have not obliged the poor by not doing that. I'm sorry. The finance minister has given the numbers also, that who are the taxpayers. The salaried taxpayers are the highest numbers, and even the revenue collection from there. But I'm not getting into that area. What ecosystem have they created for manufacturing? We are not unintelligent that we don't understand that new technologies are there. What Piyush is referring to about the cameraman, the OB vans, have they arrived with Mr. Modi, or they pre-existed? They are trying to give an impression as if everything happened, technologies arrived, startups started only because of Shri Narendra Modi and the BJP government. They should not be that arrogant. One thing is very clear, that besides creating jobs and job opportunities in the rural sector, you have to create jobs in the outside the formal economy also, but also in formal economy.
Okay.
I'm not talking of government jobs. We never said that. But Prime Minister had promised that so many jobs will be created. Those would be in the enterprises, those would be in the micro, small and medium sector. But that's the sector which has taken a body hit, with almost 30% of the units have closed. These are official reports.
All right.
Now this is the, you have to go by the data which is coming out. My question is very simple. Manufacturing was the area. What boost have you given in the last 4 years? Everything is languishing. What is the implementation record? What has happened to the national manufacturing zones? What has happened to your industrial corridors? These are the same ones.
Financial capital is Mumbai, and I myself am a Mumbaikar. And since the new age technology is coming out of Bangalore, which is the IT capital of India, I am delighted that the Honorable Finance Minister has approved a 17,000 crore rupee plan to create a suburban network in Bangalore, which will be about 160 kilometers, including elevated rail, which will transform the way people travel in Bangalore, and a 50,000 crore rupee investment in Mumbai, which will finally give 1/3 the train passengers. 80 lakh passengers travel in Mumbai suburban every day. Will finally give them good quality travel, safe travel, comfortable travel in Mumbai. First time a finance minister and a government have focused on Mumbai and the Mumbaikars and the lifeline of Mumbai, which is the suburban railway. I want to thank the Prime Minister and Finance Minister because that will have a great bearing on the financial capital and the IT capital.